Good evening, everyone. Hi. Are you ready to start the program tonight? All right. Let's start with having prayer first. Our dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for bringing us together once again. We want to thank you for all the hands that were busy in making our meal tonight. Please help us to learn so that we can be more of use to you and tell others about you so that our health will be strong. We thank you, God, for all you do for us. Amen. So tonight we have a real treat. Who likes breakfast for dinner? You like? I like breakfast anytime. Yes, and one of my favorite things for breakfast is, I was going to say popcorn, but I like popcorn too. One of my favorite things is pancakes. So tonight we're going to have pancakes. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Pam Madala, and I am the director for Living Well Seminars. I am a nurse practitioner, and I'm happy to be here. So, as I was saying, I like pancakes, I like waffles, and I like to have them at any time. And one of the things that I do with my pancakes is if I make too many extra pancakes, I freeze them. And that way I can use them as sandwiches later on, in my sandwiches instead of bread. So we're going to have a couple of different things going on. The first serving that you're going to get will be pancakes with a sauce, and you have all of those recipes here. We actually are not going to show you how to make tonight's meals because these are so easy. I'm sure you know how to make pancake batter. Mix it up and pour it in the pan. The pancakes are made out of chickpeas, so it's very, very good. Then we're going to have scrambled eggs and hummus, fried potatoes. We're going to have black bean brownies for dessert. And on the back of your sheet, you will see a beans cooking chart. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So they're going to be bringing out your pancakes and berry sauce in just a minute. So I'm going to talk to you tonight about proteins. When you buy a piece of land, or if anybody purchases a piece of land, and then you go to an architect and they draw up your designs for your new house, then you have to go and buy the materials to actually build the house, right? So what is the first thing, after you've got the plans, you've got the land, and you've got the materials, what's the first thing that you have to do? You have to level the soil, and then pour the foundation. We're going to put our foundation down, right? That's exactly what we're talking about tonight in proteins. Proteins are our foundation. Or who likes to play Legos? I like Legos. You like Legos? Yeah, I like Legos too. And Legos are so much fun, but it's the same thing. You have to build the foundation up first. In our bodies, God has made our bodies so wonderfully perfect that He knew exactly what our bodies need and the foundation that we have to have. Our bodies require food to sustain them. And you have to have the right amount of products to put in your body to have the right sustenance. I just finished listening to a book. And do you remember late 1970s when the airplane went down in the Andes? South America, and all those kids that were in that airplane, some of them family members too, they died. Do you remember that? It was very, very sad. The book was wonderful, and it was called Something About the Miracles. Wonderful book if you ever want to read it or listen to it. You get it at the library. But of this, in this airplane, 29 people went down, and 14 of them they ended up surviving and getting out alive. Of those 29, what they noticed, they were there for 72 days before they were rescued. And they were strong boys. I mean, they had muscles. These guys were rugby players. And in order to be rugby players, that's a really active, forceful game. You have to have muscles for that. And you have to have protein to make those muscles strong. So these boys were all strong. Praise God. But when they went down, and in 72 days, what would happen to those muscles after 72, even 2 weeks, if you have no food? Because they had no food. So what happens to those muscles? They atrophy. They actually went down. By the time they were picked up, they were skin and bones. And unfortunately, the only way that they could survive was something that would be heart-wrenching for each of us, and was for them as well. And I will leave that to your imagination. For those of you who knew about the story, you will already know. But the point is that when they were finally picked up and brought back home, it took them 1 year. It took 2 weeks for their muscles to really atrophy. And they were there for 72 days. But it took them a whole year to build those muscles back up. And they had to do that with protein. Now, fats are important. They have to have fats. You have to have calories. But nonetheless, it took them a whole year in order to bring those muscles back. So, I have a question. What do we do? What do we use as building blocks for our bodies in the way that we eat food? What do we use? What are the best building blocks for our protein, to receive protein? Plant protein. A lot of people would disagree with you. We agree with you, right? That's what we do here. We talk about plant-based protein. But when you're out in the world, most people say, you can't eat, you don't get enough protein. You can't get any protein without eating meat. But we know that that isn't true. So, what do proteins, first of all, what do proteins do for our body? Who knows? We know we have to have protein, but what does it do? Gives you energy. Yes. What else? Sugar will give you energy. But you're correct. It does give you energy. What else? It does. It repairs the muscles. It repairs the tissue of the body. Very important. Yes. It's a framework, yes. So let me give you, it's essential for growth. It builds new tissue, as you were saying. It repairs broken down tissue. It gives heat and energy for the formation of the blood plasma and hemoglobin. Gives you the keratin that you need in your fingernails and in your hair. And it has a big part in taking care of your enzymes of the body. Very important, the hormones and your antibodies. For your DNA and your RNA. Another important aspect of what protein does. It tells your cells how to replicate. They help maintain the variety of proteins in your body. And the amino acid proteins are the building blocks of life. So you have to have this building block material in order for your body to continue. So Genesis 1 verse 29. Who knows what that says? God made the... Say that again? God, God gave us the fruits, the vegetables, the seeds. It doesn't say the vegetables, but the fruits and the seeds for us to eat, right? Okay, so what happens if we don't get enough protein? If we don't get enough protein intake, we saw that when we were talking about those kids in the Andes. So all of their muscles, they just atrophied. Without the protein, your growth is stunted. Now, I have plenty of protein. My growth is not so high as most of you, but I did have plenty of protein, so you don't have to worry about that. If you don't have enough protein, then you age earlier. You have less vigor. You tire out easier. You have more fatigue. And here's an interesting one. Did you know that if you don't have enough protein, that you actually crave more sugar? And now, we know what sugar does. Sugar is just, you have to have glucose, because that's what you have to have for your brain and for energy. But we don't want to crave it. Okay, and I want to tell you that in 20 years of looking at people's lab slips and going over all their lab tests, I can probably think off the top of my head of maybe one, possibly two people who didn't have enough protein in their blood, in the lab slips. However, I have many who have too much protein. So what happens if you get, we already talked about not enough, what happens if you have too much protein? Anyone know? It can lead to cancer. Excess protein in the diet creates an acid environment in the blood, resulting in the bones releasing calcium. So you end up with osteoporosis. It creates excess waste in the blood, causing a burden on the kidneys and the liver. You eat, these people that go on the Atkins diets or all these other diets where they're eating nothing but meat, you're killing your liver and your kidneys. And for the last 20 years, that's what I have taken care of, people with liver problems. Yes? Is that plant-based protein also? No, that is meat-based. Okay, so we're going to talk about plant-based. We're going to talk about that. Thank you. That was a good question. He said, and you can't overdo plant-based protein. Is that true? We're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you that. Okay, so it adds stress to your immune system. It causes gout. How many of you have had gout? Yeah, so I have a couple of hands go up. Gout's very painful, and people don't realize, we're always told, no, the gout is because you're eating too many beans. It isn't because you're eating so much beans. It's because you're eating too much meat. It can cause cancers. It can cause the insulin to rise. And one of the biggest factors is colon cancer. Too much meat, protein causes cancer of the colon. So how much protein should we ingest daily? Now, I want you to listen to this because it's very interesting. Back in the 1980s and before, we were told, because of studies, that we needed about 118, 120 grams of protein every day. Guess who funded those studies? The meat and dairy advisory boards. They are the ones who funded those studies. Recently, we've had more studies, and actually, at this point, we're finding out that now remember, it was 120 before. Now they're telling us we only need between 20 and 30 grams of protein. And I'm telling you, from the standpoint of someone who took care of liver patients, I can see that. And you had a question? Is that minimum? No, that is 20 would be the minimum, 30, and that's just what our studies show right now, because it actually went from 120, then later in the 90s or someplace, it went down to 80, 60 to 80, and now we are at 20 to 30. So it doesn't matter what you weigh. That's probably a very good point. I don't have that in the studies. I just got the end point of the studies. So I didn't read all of the studies, so I can't tell you that. All right. So, can our bodies store protein? Our bodies can store vitamin B12 for several months. Our body can store other vitamins for a period of time. Can our bodies store protein? No, it can't. Cannot store protein. The protein if we take in too much protein, it will be turned into fat and stored as fat. And that we don't want. So we have to really think about what we're putting into our bodies. And I am almost out of time. I have a whole bunch of information. You were given one of these sheets of paper. On one side, it shows you the vegetarian food pyramid. And so you'll be able to look at that in more detail. And then on the other side, it gives you the plant protein and how much protein is in various plant foods. I actually have more vegetable protein percent chart, and you can go online and get all of this. This is no secret. This is nothing I had to go and dig up. You can go online and look at this. I have a nutritional value of food with grams of protein per calorie of animal products here also. And it does show the protein numbers. The biggest one is turkey giblets, and it has, per 1 cup, there are 39 grams of protein. So I want to show these to you. This is just some stuff that we are using tonight, and in our food. And where is my information? Okay, so tonight we are using some extra firm tofu in your scrambled eggs, in your scrambled tofu. And in that, the tofu, the extra firm tofu, actually provides between 9 and 16 grams of protein. That's quite a bit of protein. That's pretty good. And then nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast, everybody uses this. 2 tablespoons, just 2 tablespoons, gives you 8 grams of protein. That's pretty good, huh? I'm just going to pull some of these up. This is a wheat berry, and on the side here, a 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup. That is not very much. Is 8 grams of protein. Raisins. You think raisins have protein? Look at how many of you guys read your ingredients and read what's in it? I like to read everything that goes into something I'm buying. And the protein of this, for 1/4 cup of raisins, we have 1 gram of protein. So even in raisins, you're getting protein. Here we have quinoa. Quinoa has, so good in fiber, so good. In 1/4 cup, again, you have 6 grams of protein. Bragg's amino, who uses this? Would you think there's protein in this? There is. It isn't very much, but it's 1 teaspoon has 1/2 gram of protein. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have tahini sauce. Tahini sauce has 7 grams of protein, and in 1 ounce. 1 ounce has 7 grams of protein. In our beans, okay, so these are peas. In your peas, there is 4 grams of protein in 1/2 cup. The body likes, one of your questions was, does the body use the meat protein differently than the animal protein? Answer is yes. It is metabolized better. The body can handle it better. And it doesn't, so you can actually get more protein into your body and it will metabolize out much easier. The meat products stay in the body. It takes longer to digest them through. And that's one of the reasons that colon cancer is so high in the meat eaters. So we've just got so much information, and I am out of time. I would love to be able to tell you more. Let me see if there was something else I wanted to tell you. The Bible is full of instruction for us. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 says, "Do you not know that your bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." And beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul. So I hope that you will enjoy our meal tonight and think about your proteins. Does anyone have any questions on proteins? No? Okay, you are all experts in protein now. So please talk to other people and let them know what you have learned. And remember, God gives us this knowledge, not for us to sit on it and keep it ourselves, but we need to make sure that we're telling other people about what God has given to us. And next, we're going to have Debra Holland come, and she's going to talk more about her oils that she does and how to heal yourself. So give us 1 second. Okay, as we are waiting for Debra to come out, and she's always has interesting information to give to us. And here you go.
Okay, let me grab mine.
Here she went. All right, and does everybody, so what do we have? You've got the scrambled tofu in front of you. First of all, how do you like those pancakes? Were they pretty good? Did you like those? The sauce? Yeah, is it something that you would use at home, that you would make? It's really easy to do. And how about the scrambled tofu? Did you like that? Is there anything you would do differently? You wouldn't cook it as much? Okay, thank you. So we don't want to overcook them, that's right. Okay, Debra, you ready?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I hope you guys are enjoying your meal. It looks good. I haven't eaten yet, but I'm waiting to do so. Okay, tonight we're just going to do, who's heard of, there's a brand name out that's called BioFreeze. Yeah? So we're going to do something tonight we're not taking it's not their recipe. We're just going to do our own version of it's like a Vicks/bio type freeze, okay? And so you can create your own that way. You can kind of do it how you want. But you can either use it as a foot rub. If you're feeling like you're coming under the weather, you can use it massage your feet with it or your chest with it or whatever, right? And it also could be used as a pain relief at the same time. So it has multiple purposes, right? So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to use aloe vera. You can get it, it comes in a clear, or it comes in a green, they have a green coloring with it. So this is the clear one, and this is aloe vera gel. So we're going to put, normally we're going to put 1/3 cup, but I'm going to just squeeze it in here because it's only about a 1/4 cup in here anyway that's left. So I'm going to try to get it in here quickly. Now, who can tell me about aloe vera? Is it soothing? Have you ever used aloe vera before? It's very soothing. And the skin loves it. It's good for the hair. It's good for the skin. It's good for so many things. And you can even create your own aloe vera. It's good for burns and all kinds of. Okay, so we have our aloe vera. And we're going to use a little rubbing alcohol. You can either use rubbing alcohol or you can use witch hazel. Okay, so I'm using rubbing alcohol. And I am putting here 2 tablespoons, or you can use 2 teaspoons if you don't want that much in yours. It's up to you. I'll just use 1.5 because we're giving this away, so someone may not want 2 in there. But the alcohol is really what gives it that. When you buy that biofreeze or those kind of pain reliefs, a lot of times the alcohol with the aloe vera, it kind of helps the skin. You feel that breathing sensation. That's what that combination does together. Okay, so we have that in. We're going to stir this in. One thing I can get someone, Pam, see if they have any turmeric back there. Usually you want to use a color. You can use, some people use blue. They put blue in the bio, you know. You can use a color, food coloring, or a natural, something natural. So anyway, we're stirring this up well with the alcohol. I think I am going to go on and continue to use that another half. Okay. And so we have that in. We're stirring this up well. It's going to start forming into a gel consistency, like really jelly. Okay, now we're going to start adding our essential oils. Thank you so much. And who can tell me what turmeric is good for? Inflammation, exactly. We're going to use it as a colorant, but it also will be like, I'm not going to put much because you know it will colorate the skin. So I'm just going to put a little to try to get a little color. And here we're stirring it up, which this is good because you're going to have the turmeric in here to help with inflammation. So you're getting a lot of good things there. Now let's start with the herbs. We're having lavender. In lavender we have 4 drops. Okay, lavender is good for the skin. Loves lavender as well. It's very comforting and soothing. Now we have camphor, and we need 14 drops.
How do you spell it?
Camphor, C-A-M-P-H-O-R, camphor. Okay, 14 drops. And this is really the main oil you're using in this. And we're stirring this in. And now our next one will be peppermint. And that's optional. You can use peppermint if you want. You don't have to. If there's someone pregnant, you don't want to add peppermint. And we have 6 drops of peppermint. Stir that in. And it's getting more and more jelly. It's taking on a real nice consistency here. Okay, and then we have winter green. Winter green, you need 4 drops. Well, these drops are falling quick. And then we have our tea tree. And tea tree, we're adding tea tree because tea tree is antifungal, antibacterial. So if you're sticking your hands in your ointment, you know, you want to try to keep out the bacteria. So we're going to add some tea tree. And so we add in 4 drops, 4 to 6 drops. Ooh, this thing comes fast. 4 to 6 drops. You can kind of go in. These herbs, you can add a little more if you want. It's up to you. depend on how you're making it, creating your product. Okay, so we got that, and eucalyptus is our last one, and we're adding 4 to 6 drops. This is eucalyptus. Okay, and we're going to stir it well. And now I'm going to add, you probably have seen this before, it's called Msm Crystal. You can get it at Sprouts. Okay, this is great for if you're trying to, if you have pain as well, you're not just feeling sick, but you feel like maybe you have to increase the, where it can be multi-purpose by adding something that's going to help with pain. And also you have the turmeric to help with inflammation. So we have 1 teaspoon. I thought I brought my teaspoon in here. I have it in here, so I'll just use one here. I'm going to add a good heaping of that. You can add more if you want to, but I'm adding 1 tonight. And you're going to stir that in well. Sometime I'll take the MSM and I will put it in a coffee grinder, and you grind it down to a real fine as you can get it, and then you add it. Because sometimes when you feel it, you can still feel sandy particles, but as it sits into the ointment, it will dissolve. Eventually, it'll be very smooth. So you're going to stir all this in, all this together. Okay, you can add castor oil if you want it to be for massaging, if you want to take it to that another level as well, add in castor oil to it. So you can add your own. I'm going to add a little just in case, but you don't have to add it. You can just use it as a pain, a chest rub or foot rub, but either way, if you use castor oil, it's good. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to help you actually. The skin needs some type of oil. Okay, so I'm going to just add a little. I'm not going to add too much of that. Maybe 2. This is 2 teaspoons. Okay. Now, you stir this up, and you're starting to see the consistency of this. Just stir it up well. And the more you stir it, it's going to get more and more creamier. This is one I made last night, if I can get this off without it. I have oil on this. So, there we go. This one is the one I did last night. It becomes real jelly-like. You just keep stirring it. Ooh, it's falling. And it becomes real jelly, but it is, you can put this, it's better to put it in some type of container where you can just squirt a little in your hands, not in this type of, but this is what I use just to demo so you can see that. Okay, so either you can put it in a container like that one, your gel, or you can add it to, like I said, a container where you can just squeeze it out when you need it, okay? So any questions? This is, and someone will get to try. We will probably have 2 of these someone can get tonight. But it's, when you put it on your skin, it will breathe. If there anyone can come up here really quick, and I'm going to let you try it on your arm or somewhere on. Come up and try a little. Anyone?
The wintergreen, was that 14 drops?
Yes. Okay. Come real quick, because my time is limited. And it just breathes. You can feel the breathing. It just breathes. The skin just feels.
What is this one for?
Okay, rub it on your arm. It's kind of like a bio type of freeze, and it's also good for inflammation. It's good for. It can, yeah, massage it in good. That's what this. You add more of this if you want more for the pain. I'll add the rest of this, so whoever gets it can have more. Okay, let me just stir this in a little bit. It may be a little sandy, but it will evaporate eventually as you.
And it's for softening of the skin?
This is for, it's like a biofreeze. It's like for pain, or it's like for a Vicks type. You can turn it into your own Vicks as for your chest or whatever.
Then I go like this.
Yes, just rub it in.
Going on my hair. Yeah.
Okay, just rub it in. And you feel the vibration, the soothing, the cooling to the skin. Okay, well, thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Oh, yes. Yeah, it's from a plant base. Yeah. Well, you have it's a family. You have you ever heard of DMSO? Then you have MSM. They're pretty well, different spell of name, but they're pretty well, not the same thing, but they're kind of in the same family. They've been used for years for pain. Yeah.
Similar to glucosamine and chondroitin for your joints. They
Yeah,
use it on horses.
exactly. That's what I was saying. Well, they started out years ago using that with horses, and they discovered that it worked for arthritis as well, and so they started adding this into a lot of the arthritis medications that they were creating. Okay, any more questions? Yes, you can massage your muscles with it, and it will help. So this is just simple approaches. If you don't want to you don't want a lot of chemicals in your stuff, you just make your own simple approach.
And Debra, do you sell this?
I do, but I didn't make a lot of it tonight. So someone will get 2 gifts tonight, but those are salves for pain, and that infused oils that would be great for pain. So someone will get those tonight. Okay.
So if you're interested in purchasing some of this product, just tell Debra and she can put it together for you. We do have other products that Debra will tell you about after we have our next speaker,
Yes.
and she will tell you how much those are that she has brought. Debra donates all of this to us every single month. It costs her money, but she donates these as gifts, and she donates them so that we can earn money to continue with this program. This program is actually very expensive to do because we spend a lot on food, and so
Put my glasses back on.
we thank Debra for all she does.
Yeah, so
Thank
if you, let me see. Oh yeah, you got mine. So if you want to make a donation anytime, just see Pam, because like you say, we have to. There are months we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, So
Or the bank. Okay. Thank you, Debra. Can we thank Debra again? Oh, I'm sorry. Mary had a question. Her granddaughter is 5 years old with a lot of leg pain. She wakes up crying in the middle of the night, and she's wondering if this will help.
simple ingredients. You're using simple ingredients, and so it would be just always with anything when it comes to children, do a test first. Always test it on their arm or somewhere to make sure that they have no redness. If anything like that appear, I don't care where you buy them, that tells you that they have irritation.
Okay, thank you very much again. All right, our next speaker is a longtime friend of many of us, and so this is Ted Jeske. Ted Jeske is a local realtor and a health fiend, nut, student for the last 50 years. The question I have for each one of us is, how many of us have tried to lose weight at one time or another? Ted's going to talk to you about what he did.
Hello, folks. You enjoying all that food out there? That's a real temptation. You know why? And I almost cave into it too, because one of the things you don't want to do when you lose weight is eat at night. That's a guaranteed way not to lose weight. Okay. Well, tonight I entitled a small presentation for you called Things I Learned Along the Way. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a background as to why I'm putting this presentation. My background about myself, my upbringing, might take as much as 5 minutes. Bear with it. We're going to get into some things. But you know something? I love an audience full of questions. So I want you to feel, I won't feel interrupted. I won't feel like you're rude. You got a question? Stop me, okay? Otherwise, I could be talking into the wind, and who knows if what I said was important or it helped anybody, right? Okay, myself, I was not raised in this faith, okay? I was raised in what most people today would call a very fortunate home. How many of you have ever seen Ozzie and Harriet or Father Knows Best? That's the kind of house I was raised in. Parents acted like parents should. Everything was structured, was disciplined. We worked hard, we played hard, we slept hard, we ate at the same time every day, And being of German ancestry, it was basically an American diet. It was good. We had vegetables, potatoes, and some sort of meat every night of the week. Okay? Mom and Dad watched over us. All that stuff was good. Well, I'll speed the tape up a little bit. All of us were raised from the time we were 4 to be athletes, myself included. Physical activity was really promoted high. Being sedentary wasn't allowed. If you sat still on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon in front of the TV for 1 hour, you were considered lazy. And in our family, if there was an 11th commandment, as most of you, if you are Germans, you'll know, thou shalt not be lazy is one of them. That is like, you're in big trouble if you're lazy. Well, this is what changed my life. I was 14, okay? I just finished that year when 2 big accomplishments. One, I was tough enough to whoop my older brother, which he picked on me relentlessly. I wanted that since the time I was 3. Big accomplishment that year. Next accomplishment, I became the county wrestling champion for the 175-pound weight class. But something startled me. One evening, my dad was sitting at the dinner table. And my dad was an iron horse. My dad did not know how to rest. He always worked. And when on his days off, he made sure we worked like a boot camp around the house every Saturday. Sunday, we went to church. Sunday afternoon, he'd build something, some furniture or something for my mom. My mother was his princess. Now, he was sitting at the dinner table, and most of you will probably never have to see this sight when you're 14. I hope you don't know anybody who does. But my dad slumped over and held on to his chest. We were like, what's wrong with Dad? Has he got the flu? Is he going to throw up? He reached up, he picked up the phone, called the local family doctor and said, I'm having a heart attack. That was shocking. I picked my dad up like a baby, carried him out to the car. My older brother held him up. My mother drove him to the hospital. And there he stayed for 4 days. Came back home, went back to work after months worth of rest. 7 months later, another heart attack. Took some time off work, another heart attack. Well, what happened this year? I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, what is going on with Dad? What is he having all these problems? He's only 39. And she said, son, I want to tell you about your family history. And I did not know it. But then I found out that my uncles and aunts on both sides of the family, uncles in particular, did not make it to 60 years old. They died of coronary artery disease in their late 50s. My dad died at 55. His dad died at 55. My dad had 10 other siblings. 6 of them were males. Only one male made it past the age of 60. And he died at 63, 3 years after a heart transplant. What am I telling you all this background for? Can you imagine what would you think if you're in my shoes? If you're the type of person I am, you would say, there is no way on God's green earth that that's going to happen to me. I want to know what I can do to prevent that. So I began to study more than just nutrition from a sports angle, okay? But I wanted to know why. So I began studying health and medical issues at the age of 14, which 48 years later, it's still my passion. I try to make sure they're credible sources. Sources that I'm going to share with you what I've learned from are these. In the spiritual world, spiritual form, I've learned from the Bible and counsels on diet and health. Those are great, great sources. Then I wanted to learn, is there science behind it? So basically your triangle would look like this, because every one of you out here experiments with some sort of a nutritional supplement. I mean, nutritional supplements are the 3rd largest commodity sold, 3rd largest revenue producer in the U.S. Okay, everybody experiments with a supplement. Everybody's seen at least one fad diet in their time. Everybody's had somebody tell them something. And they experiment and they tinker with it. Maybe you learn something, maybe you don't. Most of the times you don't. Okay, this is what I want to share with you what I did. Here is a triangle. Anything that I have accepted as something I should teach somebody else or use for myself has to have this. First of all, at the top of that triangle, it has to have God. What does that mean? It has to be supported by God's word or not supported by his word. Then there has to be not like, oh, this worked for me, why don't you try it? You know, that's how people spread ignorance, okay? There has to be science behind it. In other words, your basic anatomy and physiology, okay? Now, then hopefully you can find a study on a certain demographic. What do I mean by that? When I first learned the medical benefits of coconut oil, which I was afraid to try it, which I'll explain that to you in a minute, this one thing that sold me on it, it was from God's creation. I learned the science behind it, and then a group of folks who studied this went to the South Pacific, and they studied a population that did something that we in America would say is a no-no. They fried everything. When my dad had his heart attacks, they said two things, Mr. Jeske, I don't want you to do. You're going to cut back on, Pam, you probably hear this all the time, cut back on your sodium and don't eat fried foods. You tell them, every heart patient gets told that. Well, in the South Pacific, there's a certain group of islands that were studied. There was no heart disease. They fried 3 times a day. No heart disease. Want to know what the difference was? They fried exclusively in coconut oil. Coconut oil. That's amazing. So here was something from God's creation, grown in abundance, had the science of how the coconut saturated fat affects the liver in a positive way, and also had a demographic study. It met that triangle, so I accepted it. That's something I'd like you to remember. That's important. If it doesn't have all 3 of them, the chances are it may or may not be wrong. I mean, may or may not be right. Okay. So, about the age I turned 19, I was converted, became a Christian, and joined the Adventist Church. I was raised a Catholic. I learned what you're learning here tonight is a step up from what we learned. Boy, you should have seen the food they prepared in 1975, 76. You can present it and put it together, but making it palatable was like a day-long job. And even then, your chances of succeeding was 50-50. So Julie and I used to teach these programs right here that you're looking at for the church in Norwalk, for the pastors then were the Lehmans, okay, from 1982 to 85. We had loads of fun, okay? We thoroughly enjoyed it there, which is basically a lot the way we live. Now I'm going to advance it a little bit. What do you think when you're living this way? Then all of a sudden, you decide, and this is a real life experience, this happened to me, I'm full of energy, okay? I'm totally fine. I roll up the tape to 1993, shortly after I quit working 2 jobs and moved up to the valley. Thought I'd take a blood test. How would you like to be 37 years old and you're trim? 37 years old, I was 15 pounds lighter than I am now and 1.5 inches shorter. And yet, cholesterol, 246, and I'm a vegan. And I do the things that you already know. I'm not going to tell you. One of the things I'll share with you real easy, but you probably already know it, is don't snack. That's a simple thing. Don't do that. It's a very destructive habit. Okay? I didn't snack. I didn't do those things, but my cholesterol was up there. I said, forget it. I feel great. I'll go on living. Nothing of it. Speed up 13 years, and I go to this program called the body scan, and I go underneath the body scan, and I come out, and these nurses are looking at me with this real long face. It was almost comical. Could have been on a late-night comedy show. They looked at me, and they said, Mr. Jeske, do you have a cardiologist? And I said, excuse me, I feel fine. There's nothing wrong with me. If I'm overweight at all, it might be 2%, if that. That's what I told them. They said, no, you need to see a cardiologist. The very best artery in your body is 30% plugged, and the rest are worse. I'm saying, wow, I live and teach New Start. How could this be happening to me? Exercise 5 days a week. So what do you do when things don't work right? You have to do some learning. That was a rough experience. Now I'm going to bring in how God worked for me. Sometimes we can be too quick to judge. That year, I took my wife to the Fresno County Fair, and she was so tearful. She was looking at me. God bless her. She says, Ted, are you going to die on me just like your dad did? You're almost 50, and look what's happening to you. I thought, oh, wow. So I went to this experiment. I thought, you know what? I'm going to get Julie this surgical steel cookware that you can fry in and not use. Just premium stuff that she's always wanted. So I went to this exhibit, and we watched it. And here was this guy that I was tempted to judge him because he's up there giving a presentation about frying this steak, and it looked awful good. I don't eat steak, but I got to tell you something. When I smell a barbecue steak, I absolutely love it. If it wasn't for God, I'd still be eating the stuff today. In fact, I might even be dead. Anyway, a woman in the audience said, sir, with a nation, she said, I just had a quadruple bypass. And with a nation with so much heart trouble, why are you teaching us to fry steaks? And this guy was from France. He looked like he was wearing short sleeve shirts and a tank top. He was not dressed for a presentation at all. He looked more like a billboard than he did a teacher. And he was very disheveled looking. So you're tempted to discredit him. He says, the problem with you Americans is you use all kinds of cooking oils and you don't cut fats off your meat, but the meat isn't going to hurt you long and ever unless you fry it in these oils. So I listened to him. I said, that sounded really, really not a very intelligent thing to say. But then he said, if you're going to fry, use coconut oil. And that's the first time I heard this. And I thought to myself, coconut oil is 97% saturated fat. Is this guy out of his mind? But I left there. Then I went home. I'm taking a long time to get, so bear with me. I left there thinking, wow, this is a strange thing, but the thought was in my mind. It was stuck there. I was coming home from Orange County on a late night business trip, and there was this program that used to be on late night. I've been driving home 10 or 11 at night from Orange County. It was called Science, Your Health in the 21st Century. It was about cutting edge discoveries. And I used to listen to it because it was very informative. And like I say, there's not a week go by that I don't read some kind of information, either from the Mayo Clinic or Johns Hopkins or other credible places to learn something important. Because to me, that was life or death. And I still do to this day. Famous doctor, 5 PhDs, cardiologist of many years, says, I want to tell you how the average American can prevent our coronary artery disease. And I thought, I'm going to listen to this guy. He's got all these certificates and everything behind him. Maybe he has something really good to say. I listened to him, and he gave a background of physiology of the heart and arteries from 10 to 11 at night. And I said, this guy knows what he's talking about. This is sound. And then I sat down, and he said, coming up the next hour, he's going to reveal the secret to revolutionize your cooking. I thought, he's going to revolutionize cooking, and he's going to reverse heart disease? I didn't want my wife to interrupt me. She didn't know I was home, so I turned the headlights off in the driveway, and I just listened the next hour. Yeah, I thought this doctor was going to some medication, some sort of procedure, something he was going to do as revolutionary. You know what he said? Are you ready for this? Coconut oil. And he explained how it worked from a scientific standpoint. Now, I'm not here to promote coconut oil. I'm just telling you what happened to me, because I think it's very good. Now, Pam would understand, and she looks at blood chemistry all the time. Before I tried, first I was scared to do it, Pam. I could never keep my triglycerides below 300, even though I never fried. Imagine that. Okay. And I thought maybe that they were getting it all wrong, because this cardiologist said my dad had he had horrible arteries, but he had a very strong heart. Coincidentally, I went to a cardiologist 10 years later. You want to know what they said to me? You have a powerful heart, Ted, but you got this buildup. So I wanted to know what was going on, so I contacted my brothers and sisters, my siblings. Every one of them were taking statin drugs in their 30s. I said, I'd like to look at your blood reports, because I was looking for a common, I prayed, and I prayed again. I was looking for a common denominator, and I figured it out. All of my siblings in their 30s, Pam, they had HDL cholesterol 22, 23, and they were well-tuned athletes. What was this all about? So I thought, whoa, what's mine? I had mine done, 24. Okay, here's what happened. At my gym, for $30, I get my finger stuck, blood put on a slide and put in a machine to measure electronically. I could do that anytime I want. I said, I'm going to do a controlled experiment. I'm going to eat and exercise the same way. I'm going to take this blood test. Following week, I'm going to put a tablespoon of coconut oil in my mouth with a noontime meal 7 days a week, and I'll retest again. Want to know what happened the very first week? Triglycerides cut in half. What a revolutionary thought. But anyway, there's more to it than that. That was just something along the way that led me to study and study some more. 2016, I went to see a cardiologist. He said, yeah, insides your arteries are all fine now, Ted. Whatever you've been doing has been great. But this outer layer, he did a test called calcium scoring on the outside of the artery there, was not good. Was not good. He wanted me to take a statin. I said, no. I beat it on the inside of the arteries. I'm going to pray and study some more, and I'll get it on that, call it a bushing, I guess, for a better, I don't know what the technical term is. So I did. And I got to looking even closer at it. And what I did to share with you is I kept the same coconut oil up, okay, but I began to increase the omega-3s, and my wife and I made sure that if we ever fried anything, it was only in olive or coconut oil, nothing else, okay? Of course, we don't fry very much anyway. And if any of you know my wife is an incredibly good cook. Incredibly good. She wasn't cooking anything to cause this kind of problem. It was a genetic thing. So that gets to the second part of the program. What do you do when things don't work? Because when you have a genetic problem, New Start is not your entire answer. It's not. It's a good foundation, but it isn't going to deal very well with the genetic problems. You have your hand up back there? No. She said, what about canola and corn oil? And I was saying no, and from my research, I can't tell you all the numbers of the saturated and unsaturated and the mono and the poly. I don't memorize it all. But what I will say is no oils except olive or coconut. They're proven safe even after you've fried for a considerable amount of time. Avocado oil, people are saying that it's just as good too. I have not used it, so I don't have any experience with it to tell you. So now, this inflammation and this other problem, I took a next step, and this also led to weight loss, or started to. I began to reduce. I took all, because I was middle-aged now. I mean, I've studied middle-aged health since I was 15, and now I blink my eyes and I'm 60. So I guess I should now do it. So here's the thing. I had another blood test done. I had my heart looked at by the cardiologist, a very, very reputable one. And he says, Ted, you got the heart of a 30-year-old. But anyway, but these arteries, the outer layer. So I increased my omega-3s. I also eliminated almost all simple sugars from my diet. That means absolutely no juices at all. No juices, no dried fruit, dates, raisins, none of that type of stuff, okay? And I concentrate largely on beans and vegetables are my two main things, okay? This way, I can keep the protein up where it needs to be, not 100 like these other bodybuilders and everything were saying needed to do, which is crazy, but around 30, 40 grams a day. And I make sure my carbohydrates are very complex, okay? Nothing simple. What happened was shocking. I went back and had a test done for inflammation. Following year, I had my arteries on imaging. Cardiologist looked at it. And then I went to another private practitioner Julie referred me to do a detailed blood chemistry, and they took the file. It was the best thing you could ever imagine from somebody like me for me. She closed my medical file and said, "You're not a heart patient anymore. We do not even have enough C-reactive protein in there to measure your inflammation. It is gone. Your arteries are clean, and when your heart contracts and expands, it's as powerful as a teenager." I took my daily workouts in the gym. I was about 61. This just happened about 6 months ago, and I said, I want to be in even better shape. So what am I going to do? I increased my workouts in the gym from 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, cut back on the quantity of food I ate, and it paid off. I lost 21 pounds. And I was inspired by a lot of people, but I lost 21 pounds. And I thought, I'm going to see if I can compete the way I did when I was younger. My wife was going to be here so she could show you the awards. Not that it really matters. You'll just have to take my word for it. She didn't make it. I did a Spartan race in the Grapevine. If you know where Fort Tejon, Lebec is. It's a hill course of 12.8 miles and has 31 obstacles. Okay, so it's pretty grueling. It's the second most difficult one Spartan has. It's called the Beast. And thanks be to God and the things I've learned along the way, I took a third place medal. That means I toasted people half my age. Okay? It is with things that I'm sharing with you tonight. These are, I could talk to you for hours, and I wish I could, but I know my time's limited, so I'm going to have to really speed up. I want to catch some questions before I say more. Yes, saw your hand. Well, both, because in elementary, she said, was the sugar done because of an artery problem or just to lose weight? Well, to oversimplify physiology, your basic, you learn in high school, it goes like this. A sugar not used or burnt gets stored for future energy. That future energy storage is called fat. That fat elevates in the blood, which is elevated triglycerides. See, so if you want to keep triglycerides under control, you keep those sugars under control. Because see, I used to think that because I was a vegan, that I would never have a cholesterol triglyceride problem. Folks, that's wrong. That is so wrong. My health, actually, after becoming a vegan, which the things I converted to with Julie at the age of 23, for a little while, looking back on it, my health was actually worse, because I did not realize my own individual chemistry. So now the numbers I have, I still go and test twice a month. Pam will understand this because she's far more into this than I am. She'll understand it more. Now I test with triglycerides as low as 80, and I test with cholesterol 140, 150. And it's no statin drug like my brothers and sisters. They all take that because they've been warned about heart attack and strokes. I've been pronounced given a good bill of health. Okay, I feel fabulous. I did the Spartan race 1 week before, took the third. And the following week, I did a half marathon in Fresno. Okay, obviously, I'm no runner. You can tell that by looking at me. But I completed it, had a good time. I feel great. I lost the 21 pounds, and it didn't take long to do it. It was a cumulative of knowledge I already known. I just didn't put it into complete practice till I was 61. Yes, question. I was 61. Or she said, how did you do this? Did you just discipline yourself or resolve? Well, there's a humorous side of that too. But I was at a client's house once, and this was just about 6 months ago. In the beginning of the year, I started thinking, I got good health. My arteries are clean. They've been clean for some time, but I wanted to be better. And I looked at myself at 241 pounds. I thought, I should do better than that. And then I drove home one day and I said, Lord, it's time for me to start practicing what I've been teaching other people for a couple decades. And maybe it'll do well. And it actually really was not very hard. I hope to lose about another 8 pounds, but I've traveled so much lately, I just haven't. Okay, hand back there. Question. It's almost like a mushroom. She said, does the coconut oil change the flavor of the meats, whatever? Well, I don't eat the meat, but just to food or whatever. No, really not very much. Not very much. We use it for a lot of things, but it really doesn't have, it's almost like a mushroom. It takes the flavor of what you put it with. It does not really change that much. Olive oil is even more neutral. In fact, did you have those potatoes tonight? Those were done in olive oil. Yes, a soup, sir. No, I kept it down to ones that are low on the glycemic index. She said, I'm so sorry. I keep thinking that everybody's hearing them just because I am. Okay. She said, he said, did I eliminate all fruit? And I said, no, but I kept the ones that were correct on the glycemic index. For example, you'll never catch me eating dates and raisins. Won't happen. Will I eat apples and pineapples? Yes. Different. And that glycemic has to do how fast the sugar gets into your blood. Faster the sugar gets into the blood, when you have a slow metabolism, which was my problem, the faster it gets into your blood, the less it gets used, the more it turns into fat, and the higher go the triglycerides. And guess what? Your cholesterol can float in your blood all day long before it gets filtered out. But guess what? It needs a bonding agent, just like a resin needs a catalyst. You want to know what that bonding agent is? Saturated fat. Now, because you're an oxygen-breathing red blood mammal, any fat that's on your body is saturated. So these triglycerides floating in your blood, they see a cholesterol, they go like this. They grab it and then grabs your artery walls, and you do that for a couple of decades, you're in serious trouble. Yes. A day? Oh, the question is, how many calories do I eat in a day? 1,700 to 2,100. Okay? Usually closer to the 2,000 mark. Do you have a question? Yes. You know, that's true. How do you know? If you can eat a moderate breakfast at 7 in the morning, you're not even hungry at 2 in the afternoon, you got a slow metabolism. If you're carrying extra weight here, which is a genetic problem we have, you got a slow metabolism. People with a fast metabolism don't have weight around the hips and abdomen. It doesn't exist. Like you would be people like Pastor Jensen. Want to stand up for us, Gary? You think he's got a slow metabolism? I really think not. Look at my friend David Jean Grande in the back. You know, David, now get this. You see David? This is where you have to know who you are. David eats more calories than I do. He probably eats twice as many calories as I do. If I ate the quantity of food he does, I would be in Quinoa Delta's heart care unit. That's being serious. Yes, question. That is entirely possible. She said, is it possible? Well, she basically summarized it by saying, I'm not overweight, but I have too much fat. Okay, is that a metabolic issue? Yes, it is. And there could be another category I won't touch into tonight because it's too complicated, but it's probably something you would do. If I were a doctor, I'll tell you what I would do if everybody came to my office over the age of 50. I'd test their hormones right away. You will find so many answers there that you'd never know. A couple more things I want to share. I want your questions, or a couple things I think would be a real big help to you. Okay, I'm looking at everybody here, and most of you fit that category of middle age already. Okay, we do not need to eat. There was a very wise lady in the 1980s. I went to her seminars, and her name was Agatha Thrash. Remember her? Julie and I attended her seminars regularly, and she said how to keep yourself from being overweight in your middle-aged years. She said when you turn 30, cut back your caloric intake 10%. Turn 40, another percent, 10%. Turn 50, 10%, and keep it that way the rest of your life. You know what? That is really oversimplifying a lot of things, but you want to know something? It's true. It's true. I used to, when I was a younger kid, eat 2,800 or 3,000 calories a day. I can't do that now. Even when I did a triathlon, which I still do those, I'll put on weight doing a triathlon. This is no joke. I did that Spartan race up in the Grapevine, and I was so hungry when I was done. That's grueling. If you can imagine 13 miles in the hills and 30 obstacle courses, that's a very grueling workout. I ate right when I got done working out. My wife stopped again and fed me more on the way home from the Grapevine. Stepped on the scale the next day, 2 pounds heavier. Say, I can't eat like that. You get older, you eat less. That's a rule. Now, 2 more rules to really help you. These ones don't involve a lot of science. They involve looking at a clock. You're hitting the middle-aged years, you don't need to be eating every 3, 4, and 5 hours. If you do this, put a minimum 6, preferably a 7-hour break. You see, in every one of these programs, these crazy fads that come out, like Atkins came out, keto came out, every one of them have little bits of truth in them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had any effect. One on the keto one that's very effective, which we knew since the 1980s, but because of our appetites, we really didn't want to tell anybody. Okay, if you have 15 to 17 hours from your second meal of the day till you have breakfast, all the difference in the world. I eat at 6 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Now I'll go from 1 till 6 the next morning, no food. Want to keep your weight under control? It works. I'm here to tell you that combined with exercise works. Even if you did not eat the right proportions of fats, carbs, and proteins like you should, because maybe you just didn't feel like it, or maybe you just didn't know better, that 15 to 17 hour break between your second meal and the next morning, it works. It's from the breakfast, or when do I eat personally? Oh, yes. After you complete your second meal of the day. Okay, I complete my second meal of the day 1 o'clock. Except for tonight, I caved into temptation when I saw that great food. I shouldn't have done it, but I did. 6 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and then not. Well, really, when we're middle age, we need to let our brains condition our stomach, not the other way around. Very few, now Pastor Jensen maybe so, but very few of us need to eat anything in the evening at all. We really don't. What's that? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What I learned in the 1980s was no food within 5 hours of going to bed and no liquid within 2 hours of going to bed. And these 2 things will happen. You sleep better, you won't store excess water in your body either. You'll be able to control it. I learned that also from Agatha Thrash. So I hope that's a little helpful to you. I actually only covered 1/4 of what I wanted to, but I'm happy to say that through all of this, it's amazing with this little triangle I was teaching you. So many of the things I've learned have come from things that God arranged when I wasn't even looking. Okay, yes.
I just had my blood checked and my vitamin D is like way low and they had to give me a prescription and it's a synthetic. Would you say that that's actually a good thing to take?
Well, she said that she had her blood tested and her vitamin D was low and she was given a prescription and that it is a synthetic. Is that good or not? Okay, I can't really answer that question adequately. I do know that a lot of vitamin D is made from cod liver oil. That's where a lot of it comes from. But there are many sources of it. Now, but the first thing I would ask you before you take a supplement is I would say, how much are you out in the sun during the day? Mm-hmm. I would say it's better to take the prescription than it is to run low. It's better to do that. Until you find out the correct answer, don't ignore the pharmaceutical world. One last question. My time is up. Yes, Juan. Well, she said, what do I think about CoQ10? I've read and I've heard a lot about it. It is wonderful for people taking a statin drug. It's critical. For those of you not taking a statin drug, for someone like yourself at your age, you waste your time reading it. It's not necessary. Maybe when you turn 50 or 60 and you may be interested in it, but your body does well enough at that unless you're taking things to harm yourself. Okay? If you don't have a history of substance abuse of any kind, you're really not going to have to be concerned with that. Okay, well, folks, I wish I'm having so much fun, probably more than you are. I wish I could have more time, but I don't. And I want to thank you all for coming here, and I hope this program tonight, everybody here, benefited you in some way.
Thank you, Ted, for giving all this information to us. Did you learn something from Ted's information? Thank you, Ted. Thank you very much. And for those of you who are on different medications, please don't stop the medications without your doctor and talking to your doctor or a medical professional, because we don't want you getting hurt. We do have our ideas, but we want you to make sure that you follow up with your physician or your primary care provider on that. Okay, so thank you again, Ted. And Deborah, can you ask, or John, if you would you ask our kitchen staff to come out for a minute? Okay, so does everybody have their tickets? We're going to draw for our prizes tonight. Are you ready? And I want to tell you, boy, those potatoes, those were so good. Did you like the potatoes? I think that was my favorite. Okay, all right. So, and for our, we have a lot. Usually, I have everything up here, but please don't take my display home. Okay, so we have lots of these, and we also have Deborah's goodies that you can choose from as well. Okay, and our first ticket number, if we can have all of our kitchen staff come out, please. Can you bring everyone out, please? Oh, Deborah's bringing up more. Okay, what do we have?
I just wanted to take a minute to recognize one of our special people here tonight. Everyone's special. We have a chef in the house, and anytime when you're somewhere and you're doing cooking demos, you want to recognize the chefs. It's like doctors recognizing doctors, you know. Mr. Scott, could you stand up here as our chef that's visiting us tonight? Mr. Scott, stand up. So we're glad to have one of our own chefs here tonight, so thank you for coming. Okay, we have tonight for a fundraiser, this is super tonic. So however many of you have had some of the tonic that I've made, they know how potent it is, and they know how it really helps you. I mean, if you're getting a cold, it kick it in a matter of, you're like, in a day or so, you're good. So we're raising money for our wellness. So these, normally 4 ounces, the young man, this is his recipe. Him and I share recipes. But normally he charges $25 for a 4-ounce bottle. That's how potent and how good it is. But we have double or triple that size tonight for $15 to help raise money for our food, because we have wellness coming up next month. So anyone that wants to get one of these to help out, feel free, okay? Yes. It's no chef life.
The question is, how long does it last?
How long? You mean how long will this last? You're taking only 2 teaspoons 3 times a day if you're sick. But it's good for many things, not only just the flu, but if you're just not filling up to part. Once you take this tonic, in a matter of 20 or 30 minutes, you get this boost of energy. I don't know how. I think it's from all the garlic and all the stuff in it.
Will it last 2 weeks?
You won't need to take it that long.
Will it last in the refrigerator 2 weeks?
You don't need it in the refrigerator. You can leave it out. It doesn't. It has a you can leave it out long as you're not having it open, exposed to getting bacteria and stuff. But it's fine. Just like it has no water in this, so it's a chef life. And that's the Vicks. Okay, so let us know if someone's interested in it. Let Pam know.
So you're going to take this over to the table? Yeah. Okay. So here we have Debra made some masks. If you are interested in a mask, I wear a mask every day at work, and I'm happy to do so. So if you are interested in masks, and then this is capsules of.
You have curcumin capsules, and you also have what was the other? Moringa.
Okay. And then we also have some lip balm. So it's your choice of whatever you would like up here. Okay, our first ticket number is 724043. Thank you. And we have pancakes up here. Oh, yay, come right on up, because I'm going to keep on going. Our next ticket number is 724066. Okay, oh, yay. Okay, pick whichever one you are interested in. I'll take that. Curcumin or another one. You have to ask Deb. Moringa, thank you. Okay. And just go ahead and pick one which you want. 724041. Thank you. 724041. Yay, come on up. You got it? You have a question, yes. How many of? I don't know until I've got all these gone. Okay, so did anybody have that 041? No 041? Okay. 724051. No 051. Is that you? Yay! Okay. And the same first numbers. The last three numbers are 047. Yay! Come on up. Mm-hmm. And 070. No, not that one. You want the mask? Okay. Ask Debra. Okay. Oh, good. All right. So you can wear around people, crowds, so that you don't get sick. The mask is to wear around crowds. Okay. All right. Our next number is 065. 065. Yay. And the next number is 062. 062? Right here? Okay, come on up. Are you coming up? Okay. These are capsules, and they help you with your immune system, that kind of thing. Okay, 048. Pretty much, yeah. But you can pick anything you want. And, oh, good, our chef got one. I'll take whatever you want. Thank you. And go ahead and pick whatever you want. Okay, our next number is 058. Oh, yay. I always get excited with this. I love it when people. Did you get one? You got it? Okay, good. And 054. And 054? Ah, good. Okay. So you can pick anything you want here. Yeah, go ahead and take the mask. These are the masks. Okay. This one is lip balm. Oh, no, not that one. Oh, that one. This one's for sale. Okay. 042. 042. Oh, she got it. Very good. And 044. 044. 049. Yay, we have winners. Okay, I'm going to start, you got to be fast because I'm going to start calling numbers. 045. 045. And 067. I like it when I hear, yay! Thank you. Okay. That's a mask. And 057. Right there. Thank you. 057. Immunity. To help you so you don't get sick. Not yet. You ready to give it to her? Okay. Thank you, Barry. Okay, so pick the one you want. Okay, and our next number is 071. And 060. And 069. Oh, come on, I want to hear those. Yay! And 052. Boy, we have a lot tonight. And 059. Yay! I want to hear some yay! 059. Good. No 059? Okay. 056. Yay! 050. Yay! Let's do it, guys. Let's have some fun. 064. Yes. Okay. And, okay, whoever wins this, I want to hear a yay! 046. Yay! It's life. And 063. 063. How about 061? Yay! And we have 063, yeah. Oh. And 061, and that is, you can only have one. Yeah, and that is it for tonight. All right. So the last one is yours. Thank you so much. Oh, there were only 2 that didn't win something. We might have something in the back for you. Okay, so next month we're going to have Rosie Kritzer. She is a social worker, and she's going to come and speak to us about what social workers do. We will have another evening where we will demonstrate for you some food product. And so was tonight helpful for you on proteins? Do you understand proteins a little bit more? Is that a no or a yes? Yes, thank you. All right, let's have prayer. And after we have prayer, please don't leave because Pastor Jensen has a message. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for being with us tonight, for this food for each of our people that has put forth so much effort in demonstrating what you have given to us as gifts. We thank you, God, for all that you've done for us. Keep us safe as we go home and as we come back again next month. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.